Hi everyone, it's Jennifer and welcome back to my favorite crafty things of 2015. This is a series of videos and blog posts where I share products that I recommend and use most from this past year. Now today is all about coloring, different coloring methods you can use for your cards. Now, I will be honest with you, this is actually probably good news. The coloring methods that I recommend most are actually a lot of the same ones that I recommended in my 2014 coloring video as part of my favorite crafty things last year. So instead of just going through it all again, I'm going to link to that video because all of it still holds true and it really gave a pretty good rundown of those products. So in this video, I'm going to share just a few more products that came out this year that I really like or that I discovered this year that I really like. And then at the end, I'll link you to that other video that will have a whole lot more information for you. Okay, so let's start with one of the newest products. This is actually one of the hottest products of the year, it seems, and that is the Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers. Now, these are very unique. I think there's only one other kind of marker that's similar. This has an actual brush tip. Now, many markers that we use have a brush-like tip, like it comes to a point, but it's solid. This actually has a real brush tip with bristles. It has a water-based ink inside that is great for blending with or without water or with other tools. So there are many ways you can use this, and there are many different papers you can use this on. There you can see I'm kind of smushing it down so you can see the bristles that are actually in this brush tip. So anyways, the nice thing about that brush tip is you can write super fine or press down a little bit harder and get more of a broad tip from this marker. Here I'm showing you a 12-pack of the Zig Clean Color Real Brush. I'm actually going to be giving this away over my blog. But keep in mind there are 80 colors and there are a variety of different sizes, but you can buy colors individually. So you could get a small pack and just add in a few of the pastels or colors you use often. Now I will link here to a video and blog post where I show all 80 colors so you can do comparison. And I also have a free download that you can print and create your own color swatches. On these color swatches that I have here, you can see on the left-hand column is the color without water added, and in the right-hand column is the color with some water added and kind of fading out. So these brush markers are unique because you can use them with or without water and get beautiful results. I also list on my blog which colors come in which packs, but I will tell you there is absolutely no need for a lot of these. There really are a lot of colors that are close together, and you can create your own colors by blending them together very easily. So just pick a few that appeal to you or start with one of the smaller packs, and you can always add more if you really like them. Now the result of the Zig Clean Color Real Brush really depends on the paper you're using. I'm going to show you 3 different papers today. First, I have the Holtz watercolor paper. Second, I have the Strathmore Bristol paper, which some stampers like to use, but it's pretty slick, so I don't use it very often, and it does have a little bit of a creamy color to it. And then a Canson watercolor paper, which again is a little creamy. I really like the Holtz watercolor paper, the first one I showed you, because it's bright white. However, you get a little bit of a different result with these pens on each of these papers. I encourage you to try whatever paper you have. It may work great with what you have already. So I have the 3 papers laid out here. You can see the name in the corner there. So it's the Ranger Holtz first on the left, the Canson in the middle, and the Bristol on the end. Right now, I'm just taking 2 colors and showing that if you overlap them, you can blend them together. This is a really nice thing about these particular brush pens. Another nice thing is that you can touch one tip to another to pick up some of that color and get a fun blending that way too. And it doesn't damage the tip of your markers. Now, so far I've showed you using Clean Color Real Brush pens without any added water or moisture, just the brush pen as is, but you can use water to get a watercolor look from these markers. Here, instead of water, I'm using a Wink of Stella clear shimmer pen. It's just like a clear, it's almost like a water with shimmer in it. That's not really what it is, but you can use it that way. So I'm using this to fade the color out, and it leaves a beautiful shimmer behind. I'll talk more about the Wink of Stella in the future, but I wanted to just show that it's great for using with these also. All you have to do is scribble off the tip to remove the color. Now, again, of course, you can just use water with these. So you can scribble some color on your paper with the Clean Color Real Brush pen, and then add water to fade it out. Now this is where the type of paper that you use is really important. So these are a type of papers that handle water okay, especially the first 2, the Holtz watercolor paper and the Canson watercolor paper. So you can see it handles water beautifully. The third one is the Bristol. It's kind of a slick surface, but it actually handles the water pretty well. You don't want to use a ton of water on it. And I know that a lot of people have found that the Bristol really works best for them when using that Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. I still use the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, but you might want to try different papers that you have because these markers really react different on every type of paper. Okay, you can also use your Dove blender pen, which I use with other markers and colored pencils, and check it out. You can get a beautiful blend that's very controlled because water isn't as easily controlled as that Dove blender pen. So try things with these. You can really experiment with them and have fun with them. You can see the results there, and I will link to some videos that I did with a lot of ways to use the Zig Clean Color Real Brush. I highly encourage checking them out. Most people that have tried them have loved them, and I know a lot of people are using them these days. Another product that I've really enjoyed using this year is also from Zig, and it's the Pearlescent Watercolor Jewel Box. Now this is a smaller product. You can see there's smaller amounts here, but really you don't need that much of these, and so the price point is really good. Now I've tried other Pearlescent watercolors that come in bigger sets, and the price is really low, but I didn't get great results with it. I really find that the color in these is just beautiful. So basically, you can use these on light colored paper, but it really doesn't do much. The impact here is when you use dark paper like black cardstock here. So it actually, you're not using a ton of water with these because you don't want them to be too watered down. So the cardstock handles it okay. It has the silver, gold, and copper in it, along with some beautiful colors. Again, you can use them on light colored, like watercolor paper like I'm doing here, but the impact really isn't the same as it is against that darker colored cardstock. It's beautiful to maybe white heat emboss some images or silver heat emboss some images on black cardstock and color them in with these paints. Along the same lines is the Finetec Mica watercolor, and I've been using these more and more. There are some bigger sets, but I like these basics here. This has the pearlescent kind of silvery color, a champagne color, and shades of some golds. And these are also very beautiful on dark colored cardstock. So you can see the look is very similar. This is a very high quality product. You can actually add some color to these if you wanted to. The way that I do it is I pick up some watercolor. This happens to be the Peerless Watercolor. I put it onto a little palette here. Then I clean my brush and I add some of this silvery or the pearlescent color to it. And then I add it to my paper. So I'm mixing it up and then bringing it to my paper. Now this won't be a vibrant color. This will be kind of like just adding a little tint of color to that pearlescent, and it's really beautiful. Another thing I like to use that Finetec for is to do like a watercolor background, and while it's still wet, add some of that pearlescent look on top of it. So you can see I did some there in blue earlier. Here's an example with red. Now I'm going to do half of this with the silvery color and half of it with a gold color. So while this red is still wet, I'm adding in some of that pearlescent, and it just is beautiful, the results when it dries. So again, the left side has that silvery, the right side has the goldish color. And check it out, when you tilt it in the light, it's just beautiful. So you can create really gorgeous backgrounds that way. I did a video showing this, you can see on the left there, and I'll link to it so you can see more about this technique. Okay, so those were the products that were kind of newer to me that I really liked this year. Now there are some ones that have been around a while that I still love and reach for often. I'm just going to talk about what they are here very, very briefly, and then I'm going to link to last year's video, as I mentioned, that has much more information. If you haven't checked it out or haven't seen it in a while, I really recommend watching it. I don't believe that everybody needs every type of coloring. You really need to pick what you think would work best for you. So in that video, I cover Tombow markers. That's these dual brush markers that you see here. These are really fun, and I've actually used these even more this year. They are really high quality and great for basic coloring and for techniques. And again, I'll talk about it more in that video. I'm still also reaching for my Peerless Watercolor very often. These are just fun and unique. They basically are what they are is pieces of paper with tons of color embedded in it. And all you do is touch a wet brush to it to pick up the color, and you do some beautiful watercolor effects and techniques with them. I also still recommend the Gansai Kuretake watercolor again this year. I've been using it quite often. It's a nice, creamy, high-quality watercolor. Now this set of 36, the biggest set, does have the white, the pearlescent, the gold, and the copper on the bottom. You can see it over there on the right of the set. So that's one of the nice things about getting the bigger set. Usually I don't encourage folks to get the biggest set of something because I think it's more fun to have a variety of things. But in this case, the bigger set comes with those pearlescent metallic watercolors. So you could pass on the products that I talked about earlier if you do get this big set. I love this. And again, the video goes into more detail on how you can use these watercolors. Okay, so now I recommend heading over and watching my Favorite Crafty Things 2014 coloring video because it goes in more detail about the products I just talked about and also Copic markers, which I still also recommend. Now, if you're interested in all of these products, with current links, you can check the YouTube description below, or you can head over to my blog where I'll have much more information, including giveaways and discount codes. Again, I'm sorry to send you to that other video. I just felt that was the best way to kind of pull this all together. To head to my blog, you just click here on the top left. In the middle here, you will see first the hub of all of my favorite crafty things from this year. You just click that and you can see everything I've covered. In the middle will take you to that video from last year, the coloring video that I highly recommend checking out. And then the third one talks about more on those Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens because I really think there's so much they have to offer. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll return again soon.